right, so chapter 6 of Go All-in-One, we are doing the application software. All right, or yeah, application software. All right, when it comes to application software, there is, I think your book talks about two or three. I found this one which has four on it. Yeah, there's always going to be a whole bunch of different like ways to divide things and stuff like that. But basically, what software is, it's just a set of instructions that directs the computer in how to complete a task. And that task could be doing a little calculator, or it could be running a backup, or it could be your web browser, or whatever it is. All right. But if we're going to look at the four that I have up on the screen, so we have system software, programming, application, and driver. So your system software helps the user, hardware, and application software to interact and function together. So that's kind of looking at Windows itself. All right. This is all those different utilities that Windows has built in, all those types of things. So there's a lot going on in Longmore Place in that system software. A lot of different things that can happen, can change, and all that type of stuff. So, we also have programming software, which is not normally used by the end user. This is used by people who are creating the programs or the applications themselves. So if you're not really a programmer, probably not going to ever be getting in there. Come on. Then we have our application software, and this is where we all integrate, we all engage the most. All right. These are going to be the end use programs that help us perform tasks. Maybe it be making a document, doing calculations in a spreadsheet, playing a game. Someone said Office, and yes, that would be a perfect application software. Finding information on the internet, watching a movie, all those types of things. That's going to be that application software. So this is really where most of our software that we're downloading takes place. Again, some of it probably is going to be in the system side of things, which is going to be allowed to allow the software you want to use to work. If you ever download software and install it, it's like, oh, we also need such and such, Microsoft Net 3.0 or whatever installed for this to function. Microsoft Net is the system software that your application needs. All right, so that's where you might see those two kind of start to merge a little bit. And then the last one is driver software. All right, and this is what actually interacts with all your peripherals that are plugged in. So your mice, your keyboard, your printer, your 3D mouse, your microphone, web camera, whatever it is, that's going to be your driver software. Drivers are important because they enable the device to perform their designated task. If you don't have the correct driver installed, you're not going to get anywhere. All right. A lot of times now we have what's called plug and play, like your little flash drive here. All you do is you plug it into USB, and your Windows takes care of the rest. There's no special drivers that have to get installed. It's all kind of universal at that point. But there are also a lot of things that aren't universal about these. So a little bit of a give and take going on there. You may have to go download some special software. Arduino's, for me, that's one of those. It's a little microcontroller that I program. And their USB to serial converter is not always auto-detected by Windows Update and things like that. So sometimes you have to download the specific driver to be used. Oftentimes, if there is a driver that's not going to be universal or plug and play, it comes on a CD, or there's a QR code to a link on a website to download it, or something along those lines. Anytime you find those types of drivers, I highly suggest you keep a copy of them somewhere, maybe on a flash drive, on your hard drive or whatever, so that way when you reinstall Windows or whatever happens, you don't have to go searching for them. I've done that with many things. With like my motherboard driver on my computer, I just put them all in one location, so that way when I like reinstall Windows on my computer, I don't have to go to the internet and find them. They're just right there. I just have to go, I need to run all this stuff. I just go run it all, and I'm good to go. So it makes your life a little bit easier if you already have them all kind of brought up for you. All right. Next, we have Office suites. All right, Microsoft Office, Apple Productivity Apps, G Suite, Apache. Those are some of our Office suites that you guys are probably most common with. And in fact, probably Apache, most of you aren't actually common with. Some of you probably are. Someone asked about a printer driver. Yes, your printers do have drivers that are specific to them. And some of them may have multiple. If you have a multifunction printer with a scanner on it, fax machine, and those types of things, there might be multiple drivers that go along with that. So yeah, again, most of the times if you see a device in Device Manager, go ahead and pull that back up again. Go. Let me just go ahead. I want to pull up. Let's go by my mouse. Nice. Right click properties. So if I go to driver here, it tells me all the information about this driver from 2019. Actually, it's a little over 2 years old at this point. I can update. I can check for an update or force an update. So if I have a new driver, I can force it to install that one. I can let Windows automatically search, and at this point it's going, nope, you've got the best option at this point. You can disable or go back. If you recently installed a new driver and all of a sudden your hardware is acting funky, you can do a little rollback action and go back to a previous version that was installed. You can disable devices in here. So that's kind of your best place to go looking for driver information is Device Manager. So inside of all of these, we have word processors. So inside all these different Office suites, we have word processors, we have spreadsheets, we have presentations, we have databases, and we have PIMS, or Personal Information Manager. So word processor, I like to believe you already know that one. Don't go too deep into that. Microsoft Word. What's Google's version off the top of my head? Google Sheets, maybe? No, that is, yeah. Google Docs. There we go, Doug Greg. Google Docs. I don't know what Apache's Open or Apple's are, but they're there. If we go to spreadsheet, it's Microsoft Excel or Google Sheets, presentation, Google Slides, PowerPoint, our database. Actually, I don't know if Google has a database. Rarely do I use database software is what it comes down to. It's not something that I use very often, and when I do need some sort of database-esque something, I actually normally end up using Excel for that. But there's a lot of different databases out there. I just got to give you an example. Influx would be one. But certain databases are designed for specific ways. And then the one that you guys, so with Microsoft, it's Access. And you guys will actually be doing some Access exercises. You have 1 week of Access in this class. So you'll get to at least be introduced to them, which will be really kind of interesting too. So databases, they organize facts about people, places, things, or events. And they control how collections of data are stored, organized, retrieved, and sorry. And the last one on this list was that Personal Information Manager. So this would be things like email, contacts, calendar, tasks, those types of things. And with Microsoft, it would be Outlook. Google is Gmail. There's a lot of different PIM options out there. Is really what it comes down to. So pick your poison. For business software, some things that might be specific would be accounting for tracking expenses and taxes within a business. Maybe you're trying to do payroll, invoicing, inventory, those types of things. Those are all going to fall within the accounting business software. For our document management system, we want to be able to have the ability to save, share, search, and audit electronic documents, which can be very important in the long place. The DMS may store documents on a server or the web and provide security and access to those business documents. And then we also have our project management software, and this is just used to help you organize your projects, make sure that you stay on track. This may not seem very important, especially if you're doing like a small business with just yourself, because you're like, I can keep track of what's going on in my head. But as you start getting to anything team-based, keeping everybody on track and knowing who's supposed to be doing what, when, and what's supposed to be being accomplished, that becomes a whole game of its own. All right, so that PMS or project management software, that becomes super important when it gets to businesses, especially larger ones. When it comes to your types of software, I'm talking very broad types here. There are 3 kind of main options. All right, we have proprietary, all right, which is going to have some sort of license associated with it, and basically all software has a license, but it's going to have normally like some sort of license that you're going to end up going out and buying. All right, so like Microsoft Office, you guys all got it going to HCC, but if you're going to go out to like the store and buy it, it's a license, and you're going to pay for it. It's normally a one-time fee, oftentimes a one-time fee. All right, and I have more of that on the next page. Next, we have our open source, and for this, the software source code is published and made available to the public. It can be copied, modified, and redistributed. So that Apache OpenOffice is a great example of this. If you don't want to pay for Microsoft Office and you have no other way to do it, go get Apache's OpenOffice. It's free. You can download it. It opens Word files, Excel, PowerPoint. It does everything that you need to do. Is really what it comes down to. You have to be a little careful about saving things to make sure they save in a format that can be opened in other locations that doesn't have OpenOffice installed, but something that you do want to kind of keep in the back of your mind. And the last one is going to be your web apps or cloud-based. All right. And man, I am personally, cloud computing in this aspect, I'm not truly a big big fan of. But so we have cloud computing, which basically makes it convenient to access your data from different places and devices. All right, we've already talked about storing your everything on your documents and things like that. Normally we talk about it for backup purposes, but if you're backing up to the cloud like I do with Google Drive, then I also can access it from anywhere I have internet, which is the real reason why I am using Google Drive. There's many services that offer that are available that are featured over cloud computing, like music, things like that. We also get into our infrastructure as a service, or IaaS. All right. Infrastructure as a service. So this enables business to use servers in the cloud rather than purchasing and maintaining their own. I believe Netflix actually does this. Netflix doesn't actually own their servers. I believe they're actually licensed through Amazon. And there's something crazy like Amazon has to build a new server for Netflix like every hour or something like that, because Netflix is pushing those servers so hard with all the streaming and keeping up with everything that they are just constantly burning them out. And every hour another one burns out, and Amazon has to bring another one online, which to me is kind of nuts. But hey, yeah, you don't have to buy your own hardware; you just have to pay to keep it up and running. So makes your life a little bit easier. All right, so that's our infrastructure as a service. We also have software as a service, which enables the delivery of software applications over the internet rather than storing them on your local computer. So Office 365, right? You log into your email through HCC, and there's those 9 buttons in the top corner. That is a software as a service. You can write Word documents, Excel, PowerPoint, all of that right in your web browser. And for the most part, it gets the job done. And the beautiful thing here for at least the software developers is if you do a software as a service like that, it doesn't matter what hardware they're using. If they can access a web browser, they can access your software almost all the time. So it doesn't matter if you're in Mac or Windows or Linux or Android or iPhone or whatever. It's like, oh, I need this program. They just log in and there, boom, it's right there ready for you. So really kind of a nice benefit right there. So it is very platform neutral. So again, the biggest issue with software as a service is as long as you have internet, you're probably good to go. And the other big benefit to this is the software stays up to date constantly. Like it's not reliant on you updating your computer. The owners of the software, they basically go, yep, we're updating the service today, and they do it, and it's done. And you are out of luck if you don't like the new one. All right, so something that you want to be kind of on top of. You do have your learning management system, which is used to deliver educational materials, track student interactions, and assess student performance. For us, this would be D2L or MyITLab. Both of those are different LMSs. Yep. All right. Now, when it comes to obtaining software, we have a few different options. For when it comes to licenses, we have one-time purchases. So this is going to be your retail software. Oops, sorry. This is going to normally have a large fee associated with it up front, but it's going to have an unlimited time period. So you're going to say, okay, I'm going to buy Microsoft Office, right? 2006 or 16 or whatever. You could still be using that today. You could still be using that in 10 years. The one-time purchase, you normally buy one license of it that oftentimes is transferable from one computer to another. Another option would be a subscription fee, which would be a monthly or a yearly fee that you'd have to pay. So if any of you guys are Adobe users, you know that they've gone to this system. So instead of having to throw $1,000 out the window to buy Adobe's CS6 Master Collection, you just pay a monthly fee to it. People like me, I'm like, nope, I'd rather just pay a one-time fee and be done. But by paying that monthly fee, you also have that benefit of always, again, having the newest software. You don't have to, every 4 years, throw more $1,000 out the window to buy that software. So that'd be our subscription. We do have freeware, which has no fee for a limited time period. But it's not normally going to be open source. You have Sharewell, which normally has a trial version. And that trial version may be a limited time for the software. It may have features missing. It may add watermarks to it, or whatever it is. So there's a lot of ways that those sharewares get you. So they allow you to use the software, try it, see if you like it. And if you like it, you're like, and you can deal with what all the negatives are. Like, oh well, you can use this, but you can't do multiple monitors, right? You're only gonna have one monitor on your computer. You might be like, I'm fine with that. I can live with that downside. So something along those lines. We have Donationware, which is just where donations are accepted by the developers. And then we have this freemium. This has definitely become big in the app world. So the initial app is free, but there are in-app purchases. And this may be additional features, it could be different game levels, other content, whatever it is. So it remove ads. That's a definite low one of freemium. It's like, well, I really like this game, but man, this ads are really annoying. Well, for $3, you too can remove those ads. All right, so that would be the freemium option. When it comes to purchasing things nowadays, we do so much in the App Store. That is just our go-to option. You might have in-app purchases, again, like those ad removals, things like that. You may have to go to a brick and mortar store. I know, crazy for these times, but that may be an option. Or you may be able to buy it on the website. And you may get these in multiple different ways. So you may have a download, you may have a CD or a DVD that you might get in the mail, maybe a USB drive. I was really always waiting for the USB drive install to take off, and we just kind of skipped right over USB and went to downloads, I think. So, kind of saddens me. But so those different types of options there. And the last thing we need to talk about quickly are licenses and agreements. So when you install software, there is a license there that you should really read. All right, this is known as the EULA, or the End User License Agreement. And in there, they're going to spell out what all your rights are, what all the company's rights are, all those things. Like, you can install the software on 2 computers. You only can use it on 1 computer at a time, or you can't modify or sell the program, or all those types of things. Someone told me once that Bill Gates had something in the Microsoft Windows EULA that basically said that he could come to your house and take any one item that you want. I'm pretty sure that is a fairy tale, but I've never personally checked that to find out. I've never read through the entire thing. And luckily, personally, I find these things to be so legalese anymore that it's kind of hard to actually, as a normal person, read through them and understand what I can and can't do with my software. So it kind of annoys me. I think they're working on making this a bit easier to understand, but I don't know when that's going to take. Okay. We also do have our product key or product ID, those types of things, which is normally what's you type in to actually to prove to the company that, yes, I did buy this software. And then the last thing I want to hit up is site licenses, volume licenses. So site licenses enable you to install your software on as many computers as you want, but you only have so many licenses that you can give out. So like only so many people can be using it at once. Great example of that is my PLC software that we use in class. We have a site license, which is like 12 different licenses, but I can have it installed on every computer on campus. But as long as only 12 people or less are using it, we don't have any problems. The other one is volume licensing, which same kind of idea, but when you have one license, and that can then be installed on so many different computers. So you say, okay, well, HTC has 1,000 computers. We need 1,000 versions of Microsoft Office. So we have 1,000 license volume, but it's the exact same product code that we're going to put in every one of those computers. So kind of the same idea. And that is the end of chapter 6.